I come from a family where we've been in the landscape design business for over 100 years, and gardens are really important to me. And there were certain elements and feelings in the kitchen that I wanted. Each view out of the windows will bring a garden in as if you were standing in the garden. You can actually have the hallway from one end of the house be a garden walk, and the kitchen is very much a part of that. And I needed to find a designer that could understand that, translate that into design, and give me the kind of kitchen that I wanted.
Valerie actually came to us on a recommendation from her husband's partner's wife.
She said, "Valerie, just promise me that you will go and talk to Doug before you sign anyone."
Many times I'll sit right with the client and draw ideas right there, so I can get feedback and understand what kinds of things are important to them as a client.
I think that in interviewing him, there was also an interview coming back the other way.
She just did not want a space that didn't feel natural and calming. And I knew right away she was going to have an appreciation for what we did. She knew what she wanted from the standpoint of quality and design, and she was going to be clear about it.
What I was looking for was a kitchen that wasn't a variation of some design that he had done before. I wanted something that was custom and something that was artwork, and I wanted certain art pieces in the space that wouldn't compete, but give that calm, serene feeling that a garden would.
Making a kitchen look beautiful is the easy part. To make it work first and understand how your family is going to use the space, how particular areas work by themselves, how they work in concert with one another is important.
When you walk into the kitchen space the way it was, there was no wall space. We had one wall, and the wall wasn't even big enough for a good size range and hood.
The doorway that was in the middle of the cooktop elevation was really dividing the workspace into two halves. So what I did was that I moved the doorway over. I created a small intersection so that you wouldn't see directly through to the back of the garage, and I pushed the bathroom partially back into the garage to accommodate that, and it really kind of creates the sight line as you walk into the house.
Doug Durbin's design grabbed us right away. Some of the photographs were beautiful. The presentation, the drawings, the commentary, beautifully done.
Each elevation had some individual dynamic where he said, as he drew it and certainly as he manufactured it, I'm not going to just put a simple door on here. I'm going to put a layer over a panel. I'm going to, do some faceting to the woodwork itself. I'm not going to treat this in any traditional manner.
And it's interesting when you think about Doug's kitchen and look at it carefully, that it really is a regional response, because the arts and crafts movement and Frank Lloyd Wright, it was a response to those eras, but updated into a very modern context.
This was a house for people to feel comfortable. So in this space, in the kitchen, it's a lot of warm woods, more organic, and making a warmth. It's almost like a hug. This table was hand-carved. It's out of probably, we're figuring, a 125-year-old tree for the burl inlaid into the top of it.
What I appreciated in the table was that it was going to fit in more just really as a piece of art.
I loved the piece so much that I told Doug that I wanted to see if we could use that, which I knew we could do, as a springboard to designing the kitchen around that.
Using the different woods contributed to the natural feel, but there isn't any of the materials that were used that are real strong grains, real strong colors, with the exception, I would say, of the refrigerator cabinet. It's a mix of figured and quartered American black walnut and a burled black walnut. The island isn't wood, it's a paint-grade wood. It has a very subtle cracking technique done to it, and then it's glazed over the top. It's more of a painted finish, but it has a very, very subtle detailed glaze on it, almost feeling like leather. And what was nice about the rift cut, it isn't anything that is going to fight with or conflict with a lot of different kinds of stones. It has an extremely natural feel to it, but again, it's not one of the materials that's just going to scream at you. It's going to take its place. I needed to get the refrigeration out of the line of sight.
So what he did was recess the refrigerator into the wall and marry cabinets on the back side that would hold the depth of the refrigerator.
By making it curved on the face, really contributes to this unexpected surprise.
You don't even know that it's refrigerated at all. You just think that it's a beautiful piece of furniture.
I had originally designed the hood to be completely different than it actually ended up to be. And it came in the shop and I looked at it and I hated it.
It was going to do exactly what it wasn't designed to do, and that was to distract or be overpowering to the space.
I just knew that it was wrong for the design. And I sat there, I was running through designs in my head, and I went upstairs into our engineering department and I did the sketch of the hood pretty much as it stands now. At the end of the project, I knew that it was right, and she did too.
Doug Durbin's kitchen was a mill worker's kitchen. What he did is he looked at every elevation. He had some very tasteful layers of different woodwork combined to each other.
And it was so different, the combination of materials with wood and stainless, and the way it was put together in the design. The proportions were perfect. It just has a beautiful, serene, and classic look.
I think Doug really sweat the details, and I think that was very evident.
He didn't have a lot of assets architecturally in the space. It had a flat ceiling of not great height, and yet he managed to incorporate detailing on the ceiling that really gave it a special panache as well.
I think it's the way that just these very small, subtle details with the stainless reeded columns, inset bronze reeded pieces in the island, the quartz backsplash that's behind the hood that is machined out of a single slab. All of them contribute to the design in a way that they speak to you almost in a whisper.
He was very, very fussy about being different and yet ensuring the integrity of the design without being too over the top.
I think everything revolves around design. It's just something that's part of me.
Doug almost had complete design liberty with the kitchen, just, giving him some idea of where I'd like for the kitchen to go. It was really put in his lap and he just went with it.
Understand what our clients are trying to accomplish is the #1 priority, I think, in any good design. It's almost like this intangible connection. It becomes this collaboration, trying to create a space that reflects who they are.
He takes a project and it's not just a cookie cutter project. It's always on the edge. It's always going forward.
I'm never going to live in that house a day in my life, and it needs to be perfect, because at the end of the day, I might love it, and it doesn't matter. It matters if the client loves it.
I had a designer that if you could dream it, you could have it.